Hello, I'm Megan Tucker and welcome to an episode of Veganize It. Today we're making Jewish apple cake to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. And we're going to make it vegan with plant-based ingredients. We'll get into the substitutions later, but I wanted to talk a little bit about why we make Jewish apple cake for Rosh Hashanah. First, apples are a traditional part of celebrating the new year. They are a symbol of sweetness in the new year, and amongst a few other ingredients are part of pretty much every Rosh Hashanah celebration. Secondly, round-shaped baked goods are popular for Rosh Hashanah. They're another symbol of the new year. My family and I enjoyed it a lot when I was growing up outside of Philadelphia in the suburbs, and we bought it from a local bakery where my brother and I both worked. I started working there when I was in about 8th grade and worked there throughout high school and college, and they made a non-vegan version of this cake, and so I'm excited to share the veganized version with you guys today. So we're gonna start with 5 cooking apples. It's important to get apples that are best suited for cooking, like Granny Smith or Golden Delicious. If you're going to the farmer's market and you see a bunch of apple varieties and you're not sure if they're good for eating out of hand or for cooking, you can always ask the farmer and they will advise on what variety to get. But at the grocery store, Granny Smith and Golden Delicious are your best bets for cooking in recipes like this apple cake. So we're gonna peel and chop about 3/4 of the apples to go inside the cake, and then for the top of the cake, we're going to take the remaining 1/4 of the apples and slice them into 1/4-inch slices. We're gonna add sugar and cinnamon to both the chopped apples and the apple slices, and we're just gonna mix it together and then set it to the side. So now we're gonna zest 1 lemon on a microplane, and we're just gonna take the very top layer of the lemon zest off, and then we'll cut the lemon in half and juice the lemon as well. In a lot of apple cake recipes, you see orange used instead of lemon. I prefer lemon in the cake. However, if you like orange, you are welcome to use that instead. So we're into our mixing bowl. We're starting with a 1/2 cup of applesauce and a 1/4 cup of flaxseed meal. And we're gonna mix those together, and mixing these is one part of our egg replacement in the recipe. It's important to grind your flax seeds fresh so that they are fresh tasting, and so that you can grind them really fine so that you don't get a grainy mouthfeel in your cake. We're also adding our lemon juice and zest that we just made, a 1/2 cup of sunflower oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1.5 cups of sugar. It's important to use organic sugar because we know that that is always vegan. From there, we're gonna mix together our dry ingredients, and we're gonna sift them into the cake batter so that we don't have any lumps. And we're starting with 3 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of turmeric, a tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and to finalize our egg replacer, we're adding a 1/4 teaspoon of black salt, which is also called kala namak. And we're going to fold them gently together. It's important not to overmix the cake batter, but also as you're making it, you'll see that it's a rather thick batter, and so you do want to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed, but not overmixed. Don't be alarmed if it does feel like it's on the thicker side. That is normal. We're going to take half the batter and spread it into a prepared bundt pan. And then we're gonna take our chopped apples and layer them into the cake. And you're gonna want to be careful not to touch the edges of the pan like I did, so that the cake does not stick. Then we're gonna go in with the rest of our batter and smooth it over the top. It may seem like you don't have enough batter, but if you take your time and spread it out, you'll find that it is enough batter to cover the apples. So then with our sliced apples, we're gonna layer them on the top of the cake, and take your time to make this look pretty so that the top of your cake is really beautiful. The cake goes in the oven for an hour and a half at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and after it bakes, you're going to want to let it sit at room temperature for about 10 minutes before going to unmold the cake. It's still going to be incredibly hot while you're unmolding the cake, so be careful. And I used a two-piece bundt pan, which does make it easier to release the cake from the pan. However, it's still kind of fussy, and you're going to want to be careful not to burn yourself while you're working to unmold your cake. All right, so I'm super excited to try the apple cake. One of the things that I love about this cake is it has the chunks of apples in the middle and then the sliced apple on the top. One thing about the cake that you'll see a lot of times is powdered sugar on the top, and I'm not a huge fan of powdered sugar. I feel like it sort of hides the food, and I prefer to see exactly what it is that I'm eating and present the recipe kind of without those kind of adornments. So I'm gonna dig in and take a bite. The apples in the center are perfectly tender. The cake is a little bit moist without being wet. And even though we used applesauce instead of using 100% oil like a lot of recipes, the cake is still really rich, but I find that the applesauce adds a little bit of lightness, but also just kind of compounds the really nice apple flavor. So I'm gonna finish this slice of apple cake, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please give it a like down below, subscribe, and share the video. And we'll see you again next time for another episode of Veganize It.